Okay, everyone, welcome back to the Ninja Selling Podcast. We are so grateful that all of you are here. Thank you to everyone in the Ninja Nation for tuning in. My name is Eric Thompson. I'm the head of the Ninja Coaching Program. I'm here with Tracy Peterson-Nienaber. I'm here with Mark Johnson. They are two of our fine, esteemed, certified Ninja coaches. We're going to be learning a whole lot from them today. And again, we're just super grateful that everyone's tuning in. So why don't we do this just to start, you guys? Why don't we allow everyone to get to know the two of you a little bit better? Mm-hmm. Why don't you share for how long you've been coaching? When did you start coaching? And also curious to know how many people are you working with now? So Tracy, why don't we start with you? Go ahead and share a little bit about your coaching background.
Great. Thanks, Eric. So I have been coaching since 2021, and I hold currently about 30 coaching clients.
Got it.
Yes.
Got it. And I would guess they're from all over the place, right? All across the land.
All across the country.
Different companies, different markets, obviously, different places. Yeah.
Yes. All around the country. I go all the way from the East Coast all the way to Hawaii. So yes.
All right.
So I have the full gamut of the country.
Yeah, all the time zones.
Yes. Yeah. I do coach in all time zones.
Yeah. Maybe Alaska, but yeah. Great. Okay. Fantastic. Mark, how about you?
Well, I've been coaching since 2016, and I've got about 40 clients I coach from Alaska, one time zone, all the way to the 4-hour time zone of Canada, down to Florida and Southern California. So I think I got about 28 states and 2 countries, I guess you could kind of say there. So it's a little bit all over.
we are coast to coast here in this podcast. And so lots of insights, obviously, that you can share given all the different people that you work with, all the different markets. It's really fascinating to think about just the visibility that you have into all those places. So here's our topic that we came up with for today. Kind of a fun one, especially for us. And the question is, what's the difference between training and coaching? And so the three of us agree that there is a difference. I'm guessing that our audience would agree that there's a difference. And so we're going to dig into that a little bit and talk about that and talk about the value of each, because I think we would all agree each of those have value. But what's the difference? And so I know each of you have given thought to this.
Yep.
We played rock, paper, scissors before the podcast, and Mark won. So Mark, you're going to go first.
Yep.
So why don't you start? Kick us off. Tell us what comes up for you as a difference between training and coaching.
I think what comes up for me, the first thing with training side of it is you're focusing, like when you come to an installation or when you go to something, you got to go to there, learn something. You got to go get better knowledge. You've got somebody up there kind of instructing and leading you along the way to get your skill set better. And you can come away from that. You get into small groups and they kind of lead you in that direction. I think when you get into coaching, especially like one-on-one coaching, it's focusing on the individual. You're kind of taking that information you're taking and how you're going to install it into their world and make it, work for them. And I kind of use like golf as an example. Golf is you have an instructor and it's instructor led, and you have a group of, let's say, 16 people that's going to learn, a skill set, let's say putting. Yep. And everybody's going to go out there and they're going to do it as a group. And then you got to work in maybe 4 small groups. And then a coach comes in, you're going to take Tracy aside on a different day, and we're going to work on putting with Tracy's skill set. And because there's a different height gender, right? We got, so there's going to be maybe a different stance, and we're going to work on, first, before we get going though, we're going to pull Tracy aside and go, okay, what are your goals? What do you want to accomplish today? And kind of start that base, which is probably perfect for you to kind of lead into some goal setting thoughts and ideas.
Yeah, and what's interesting is I play golf too, so you can look up my handicap and you will not be impressed. Okay, so just so you know, I'll know that. But when you let's take the analogy of golf lessons, that it's like, okay, you bring them and you're taking this class. We're going to be looking at our swing and that kind of stuff. Well, great, that's the first class. Well, then in personal coaching, we're going to the person and saying, okay, so you've got the swing down and that's fantastic. So what's the next thing that's a challenge in your golf game? Sand? Oh, sand's tough. Okay, let's have the next one be sand. Or how about putting or your short game or whatever that looks like? So it's a custom one-on-one, not a one-size-fits-all program just for you.
Right.
Yes.
Right. So if someone went through a golf training with a bunch of people, maybe in that training, they didn't spend enough time on sand traps and in the sand game, where that individual, that is absolutely their weakness in their game. I actually can't think of any golfer where the sand game wouldn't be right?
So true.
Right. But like you were saying, it's that hands-on customization of what does that person need, but using the training.
Yes.
So what's true for us in Ninja coaching, what's very effective in coaching if someone has been through the training, because then you make the coaching relevant to the training. And I'm guessing that both of you would agree with that. And that, like what comes up for you as I talk about that, how they go hand in hand.
For me, what I go with is, and let's take it back. Let's take the analogy back to installation, because that's what we know and learn and love. The installation we have 100, 200 people in the room. Yeah. Great. We're all learning about time blocking. Let's say time blocking and the perfect week. Fantastic. Here's what you need in it. Da, 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 da. We get into maybe a mastery group. That's 10 to 50 people. Okay, so. Have you done your time blocking? Do you have a perfect week? Yes. No, I don't know. I'm having some trouble with it. Go back, look at the descriptions again and work on it. Come back next week. With coaching, what we're doing is we are coming alongside you, next to you at the table, bringing up a chair next to you and going, okay, so tell me a little bit about your life. So do you pick up kids? Do you have sales meetings? Do you take care of mom and dad? Okay, all those things are non-negotiable. So now let's figure out how we put in all the things of the perfect week around your non-negotiables in your life. Yeah. We are partnering up together to help you through it. It's your perfect week, your life, your non-negotiables, but we'll help guide you through that so that you can get this project done.
Right. And it's simply you saying, okay, show me your calendar.
Yes.
Which you can't do in a training or even a group coaching setting.
Or the challenge is to setting up that perfect week, because maybe you have, let's say a person, whether, husband or wife or, partner that is in charge of kids from 7 to 9 and, 8 to 9, I'm supposed to make I'm supposed to work on the business. Well, that doesn't work for that style at that time. Yesterday was a aha moment because we're all here, for the Ninja Now session. And, there's a very, solid, very high producing ninja, concerned about those 50 live interviews. So, we just did it today, right? We went in and we go make your calls, random roulette call for 10 minutes. Everybody comes back. There's one person that talks about the success story. You do that and say, okay, go make your calls. You get in a mastery group and maybe you get a group of that 10 to 50. You got to get in smaller groups. Who made the calls? Eric didn't make your calls. Oh, next week do the calls. And I think, leading into later accountability kind of conversation is, as coaching, diving into what was your reasons by the calls? Like, what's the why? Why didn't you make the calls? Well, I didn't feel like it. I wasn't in the right mindset, or I'm so busy. I think, have you heard, I'm overwhelmed right now?
I'm overwhelmed. That comes up a lot.
It's okay. Well, what can we do to help? Well, what can you do? Right. And I think that's where one-on-one coaching comes in, is kind of help them get through that moment, because what happened is most likely they made a bunch of calls the last 4 weeks. And guess what? TSW, this stuff works. And then 4 weeks later, we get in, I don't have time to make the calls because I've got 4 inspections going and I got to go shoot 2 buyers. And so.
Yes. And I would say, like, in regards to accountability, I feel like our job as a coach is to ask the question, what got in the way? It's not judgment. It's not in the least bit, but my question is, what got in the way? And the reason why I'm asking that is so we can start diving deeper as to what is taking you away from working on your business. And it might be working in your business, and that's great. That's why we work, because we want to work on our business. We want to have closings and do purchases and sales, and we want all that stuff. But if we don't work on our business then as much, then we get this really these big high peaks and valleys. And so our job as a coach, which I think you'd agree, is that it's like our job is to ask the question, what got in the way? And so that we can dive into that and figure out how can we make it so that doesn't happen again.
Right. And remove the big swings of up and down and just make it a nice natural progression upward. And, people get such a high out of going to the installation and they finish that last day 4, they go through commencement in the high positive energy. And the reality is that's not going to last. Yeah. And so maybe a year later, they go to another installation, then they get back to that place. But what coaching does is it keeps them on that path, right? It keeps them doing the things that they were taught to do in the installation. Yeah. How about a question for both of you? What's coming up right now in your coaching? What do you find yourself focused on? What with your clients? I'm sure, I know there are definitely some certain themes right now that are coming up for people. So maybe share a couple of those and how you address those with your clients.
Well, I think The word overwhelmed. I've had a number of coaching calls these last few weeks, and overwhelmed. And there's two different spectrums of it. There's that's what working, right? Things are working for people, and I'm overwhelmed because I don't know, I can't keep going. Or I just had a few where I'm overwhelmed, but my business isn't where I want it to be right now. I'm doing the stuff, or I'm overwhelmed. I can't do any more. And then I think that's probably where the coaching side comes in. Good question for you is, now what do you do, right? How do we help that overwhelmed to kind of scale back so we can get back on? Because usually there's something why it's not working.
Yeah.
And, so that I think for us is it taking that time to dive into what's kind of going on. Mm-hmm. What would you say?
I would say, I feel like right now, what's happening is people are really stuck in the weeds of their business. So they're stuck in, I have an inspection today. I need to book my photographer. They're stuck in the working in their business, which of course we want to be working in our business. Don't get me wrong. We want that. But we also need to make maybe working on our business, which to me is a conjunction of making sure that you come at looking at your business from a CEO or a business owner standpoint, so that you're not stuck in the day-to-day. You are thinking more outside, going, okay, what was my business flow calendar? When did I want to have that client appreciation event? I wanted it in November, let's say. Oh my gosh, well, we're getting closer. I need to start planning that. I need to start making sure that I have a save the date postcard and also an invitation postcard. And what am I going to do? Am I going to do pies? Whatever we're going to do. Making sure that people are really pulling that document back out, the business flow calendar, so they are running their business like a business and they're coming at it with a CEO mentality and making sure they're looking at the goals. Am I trending to my goal? Do I need to adjust my goal up, down, whatever it is? We need to look at stats. We need to look at the business flow calendar. If we don't, we're not running our business like a business. We're not a CEO. We're just a business on accident.
Right. Exactly. And it's such a benefit of coaching is it gives you the chance to do that. So if someone's working with a coach or not, it's so important to build into your schedule periodically times to kind of pick your head up and look more holistically at your business and focus on your goal and focus on the strategy that, at a minimum once a quarter. I know that's something that we do within Ninja Coaching. We have a process for that to help someone check in and evaluate what's going on in their business. But yeah, it's just so natural to slip into that pattern where you just into the weeds, into the day-to-day of your business, of your life. Yeah. Just those habits that you have and never act as the CEO and look bigger picture.
And I think some people show up as the employee for so much, right? Rather than the CEO.
Yes.
You do need to be in the employee sometimes. You do.
Yeah.
But you also need to be the CEO as well.
Yeah. And that's a more valuable use of your time, right? It's, if you think of just dollars per hour, it's more valuable to doing the CEO related things than just employee related things. Yeah. Mark, how about you? What's coming up?
Well, you both kept saying show up. And what's number 2 thing on Ninja 9? Show up, right?
So true.
And I think sometimes your coaching relationship is a little bit different every personality, right? We have 4 different personalities, and sometimes we have to be honest with some people. And it's like, why aren't you showing up? What's causing you to go back? Because it is a job. I mean, I think sometimes we get into this, I want all this freedom and stuff, but at some point we have to put in the effort to get to the opportunity, right? We all chose Ninja because it's a relationship style business. Well, we have to develop relationships. We got to get out there and do the activities. The positive is when you do it, it works. And I think, making sure we do show up and treat it as our job, to get out there and mix with people. And I think sometimes that gets lost in the weeds. That was a great point about it is we are choosing to be entrepreneurs and develop and we run this business. And I think, you have a trainer to help get you started. You have a trainer to put those things and processes in place. And then you can have a path where you can choose mastery or coaching or both. I mean, we both got a number of people where they do both because they do 2 unique different things and they can collaborate on helping you get to where you want to go with your business and your lifestyle.
Exactly.
Yes, absolutely.
Exactly. So obviously the vast majority of our coaching clients have already attended the 4-day Ninja installation. Sometimes these coaching clients come to us right out of the installation. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's later. So I'm curious, and by the way, this is not a prepared question, so it would just be kind of off the cuff, if that's all right. So what are some things that you hear from someone where it's been a little while since they've attended the installation? It's been a year or 2, let's say, and they come to you and say, I think I'm ready now. What are some common themes or common things that they want to work on. They say, I attended a while ago. Maybe I thought I could do it on my own, but I find I really need help with these particular things. Like what comes up for you as things on their mind that they want your help with?
For me, the two things that come up with that kind of installation graduate is, one, they want accountability. They're like, I have all these fantastic ideas, all these things I know I should be doing, but I'm not doing them.
Yeah.
And when I have someone that I have said, I'm going to do X, I'm going to do the Ninja 9 this week, then when I meet with them the next week, they're like, guess what? I did the Ninja 9. I knew how to do it. I just needed to me telling you made me feel like I was going to do it. So the accountability is big. And the second one that I find a lot of folks when they come back come to coaching after being in installation, let's say for a while, it's been a while, is real estate reviews. There's a lot of confusion and a lot of scarcity mindset on that, oh my gosh, it's going to be super salesy. I don't know how to do it. I don't know the forms. And they just really need a coach, I think, to break it down step by step. I do it with my coaching clients. I'll say, you know what? The first thing is you need a time block in your schedule for real estate reviews. And right now, you're not even going to be doing any of them. You're just going to be working on them. And the first thing that we're going to talk about is, how about a cover letter? Let's just work on a cover letter for that. And then the next step, how about let's just look at some names of some people that you'd like to do real estate reviews for. So just step by step.
Broken down.
Rather than real estate reviews.
Right.
Dun, 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 dun.
Right.
I mean, that just feels like, it feels so overwhelming.
Right.
So
That makes sense. Yeah.
That's the second one that I get a lot with those kind of folks that you described.
Yeah. Got it. How about you, Mark?
I think same thing is, people like they're not showing up, or they were doing really good and then they're not doing really good anymore. Then you kind of go back as, it's really easy in 2020, 21 and 22 to be on accident and just partially show up. And then you had this business. Now we actually have to go back to being, an agent. Going into the real estate reviews, is one of my favorite things, right? If they don't usually trying to figure out what's going on with the real estate reviews. They don't know who to send it to. They don't know what to send it to, and they don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
And really kind of, initially just kind of breaking down to, well, anybody that is on your hot list, anybody that might be going through some life changes, anybody who helped them buy a house in the last year, or anity that's what's the market's like.
Yes.
Is in there, and then kind of helping them dive into that. And then the what is something you feel comfortable and confident, because the three of us might have something completely different because of our style and personality. And I think people think it has to be a presentation. All it is a vehicle to get a conversation going, right? Because on 20-minute conversation, 4 minutes is on the real estate review, 16 minutes is on, Tracy, when are you guys going golfing next, right? Or, Eric, when you guys going skiing in the middle of winter, whatever we might know about each other. It's an opportunity to get in there. And I think once people realize it's really a simple system and helping us get out of their own head. And I think that's probably one of the biggest things they're looking for is helping somebody put them on the path that they're trying to find. And sometimes they don't know where to find it.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. The real estate review is such a good example of something that can come across as being completely overwhelming.
Yes.
Where do I even start with someone's help, or at least on your own? Just break it into small little steps and don't make it a big, daunting, overwhelming thing. Okay, so we covered a lot today. It's great as we talked about this difference between training and coaching. I think some of the highlights for me, some of the big takeaways and ahas would be to run your business like a business, to act like a CEO, show up. People really want accountability. And we talked about breaking down the real estate reviews. But I think going back to the main theme of today, training and coaching, they work hand in hand. So it's not, I know all of us would agree, it's not one or the other.
Yeah.
It's the two of them together work so well. You learn the concept, you get the roadmap, you're shown how in the training. It's the coaching where you implement it. It's the coaching where you customize it. It's the coaching where you keep someone accountable and help them to rediscover their motivation and help keep them going, and really to accelerate their path toward the result and to just make it easier with less heartache and brain damage and wondering and overwhelm, right? Yeah. So I can't thank both of you enough for sharing what you shared. And anyone listening who wants to learn more about what we have to offer, go to ninjaselling.com. At the top navigation bar, you'll see the word coaching. Underneath coaching, you'll see a few different options, including our master groups and also including one-on-one coaching. We set up a complimentary call. It's really easy if you want to learn more about how coaching works, and you get introduced to wonderful people like I have here with me today. And we just learn a little bit more about your business. Where are you now? Where do you want to go? What might be some things in the way? What are some things we could do to get started and get you going on the right path, and walk you through how our coaching works? We're more than happy to have that conversation with you. So thanks everyone again for listening. I'll ask you one other thing, and that is if you have comments, if you have questions, things coming up for you, if you have any kind of commentary on what we spoke about today, if you have a take on the difference between coaching and training, use our Facebook group for that. Just put some notes there in the Facebook group, and we will definitely respond. And why don't we finish, just in case people want to reach out to you individually? Why don't you just quickly share your email? Ladies first. So Tracy, we'll start with you.
Thank you. It's Tracy, Tracy @ninjaselling.com.
All right.
And I'm Mark at ninjaselling.com, MARK.
Okay. All right. Yeah. And ninjaselling.com.
Yeah.
Okay. Terrific. Thank you again, everyone, for tuning in, for listening. We appreciate all of you in the Ninja Nation. We look forward to connecting with you on the next podcast. Thank you. Have a terrific day.